Welcome, everybody, to the real deal of parenting. I am so excited this afternoon because I was able to pull this busy man away for a few minutes, talk everything season three of The Chosen. So, without further ado, although he really needs no introduction, as I'm pretty sure he's known round the globe, is
Oh,
the
gosh.
creator of, like, let's just say it, the largest fan supported entertainment project time, Dallas Jenkins.
Hey there. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that. That was a lovely introduction.
I mean, it's a mouthful, but I feel like we have to get it in there, right?
Yes, yes.
So, Dallas, you completed the filming of The Chosen's third season in September, and you're just continuing to ride this wave of unprecedented success. So, I mean, how does that feel? I'm sure you're still trying to catch your breath, right?
Yes, but that's been the case from the beginning of this thing. And I don't know that success makes it any more pressurized than it ever has been. Now, if I cared about avoiding criticism or gaining praise, audience response, the numbers, all of that, I think it would be more stressful. But that's not my primary purpose, and it's not really a factor. God took all that away from me several years ago. I think the pressure comes from constantly wanting to make sure that we honor the character and intentions of Jesus in the Gospels, making sure that we're handling the growth of our company. I mean, now we've got, you know, well over 40 full-time employees, just not including the production when we're actually filming, and we've got hundreds of cast and crew and all that to manage. So the growth of the show has certainly made it bigger, but I would say that the pressure that may or may not come from audience reaction really hasn't been a factor. We really try to protect that. We try to protect the process of creating the show and keep it free from audience influence, because I just don't want to, nor do I think the audience would want me to be focused on anything other than really trying to make the best show that I can that also honors Jesus in the Gospels.
Absolutely. And I feel like because you've taken off and you've become this household name, and hundreds of millions of people from around the globe are watching this, you really do have to, and when you're in this ministry, you have to develop some thick skin and put blinders on to really be able to make it, right? You have to stay tough.
Yes, but I think that comes less from getting tougher than it does from surrendering more to God. I think I've always been fairly tough. My parents raised me to to be to have some grit, but I think that the way out of having a losing what the Bible calls a fear of man and caring more about what God thinks is less about, all right, I got to toughen up and be okay to handle the slings and arrows. And it's more about, I need to get to a place where I'm not also motivated by the praise, where it's really, and it's a habit. It's a habit you have to develop. You have to replace your narcissistic thoughts or your people pleasing thoughts with scripture. And it's hard, but you see it online all the time. People post something and then someone disagrees and the person then overreacts and then they start going back and forth on it. And it's all rooted in I care what others think of me more than I care of what God thinks of me. And I say that as someone who struggled with that for decades. And I think it's a vital habit to change if it's something you struggle with.
I love that. That's so important. So, season three, what can you tell people to expect? How is it different from the first two seasons?
Well, the stakes are higher. The disciples are now following Jesus full time. It's, the apostles have been chosen, the 12, and along with the other followers of Jesus. And now it's challenge time. Now it's, okay, I'm following Jesus. I'm walking with the Messiah, and yet my life is still difficult. Why is that? Why are the Romans still oppressing us? Why is my marriage still struggling? Why haven't I been healed when you're asking me to heal others? These are all very challenging questions that are asked of Jesus that I think viewers ask as well. The theme is, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And we don't shy away from the weary and heavy laden part of this season. So I think that's really a big focus of season three. And then there's also just some really big scenes. I mean, you see in the trailer, the feeding of the 5,000. Jonathan Rumi, who plays Jesus, has been saying in interviews, season 3 is going to melt your face off. And I think there might be some truth to that.
And I'll tell you what, Dallas, when I watched the trailer, I'll tell you what got me the most. And it was the second time that I really got emotional was when Judas approached Jesus. And it was something, the second time I watched it, I got filled with emotion. And the only thing I could think of, and there was that pause, it was just such a powerful scene when Judas comes up and he's says his name to Jesus, and Jonathan Rumi, who's so great, he just looks at him with these merciful eyes, and he knows that's his betrayer, and yet shows him love and acceptance. And that was just, I think, me personally, I'm most excited to see how that plays out, because Judas, that has to be that's such an intricate character, right? I mean, so how that to develop?
Yeah, I mean, Judas is one of the hardest characters to write because we knew that the moment he came on the scene, the audience is bringing with them all the baggage of Judas. So, the decision to make him a likable character who fit within the group and who was devoted to Jesus, that was an easy one because I don't on any level believe that Judas came into the group with the intention of kind of, gaining information for 2.5 years and then betraying him at the end. I think he was devoted to Jesus. And I think, we've got ideas for why we think Judas ultimately betrayed him. But yeah, it's anytime he's on screen, the audience is thinking that's the guy. And the trick for us is to try to get them to get into the minds of the disciples and of just to kind of get in the habit of watching Judas and watching like they watch everybody else. It's very challenging to do, but yeah, there's no escaping it.
Right.
All of his scenes have extra weight because of what we know happens.
Yes. Wonderful. And I know our time is short and we're going to have to do something else because Dallas and I had some technical difficulties before we started. But as our time is so short and The Chosen, it's in 62 different languages and counting. And we said earlier about your tremendous success you're having. But Dallas, if there was one specific prayer that all of these people watching could pray for you and for the entire team at The Chosen, the entire ministry.
Hey, are we letting Catherine in?
I would say, hold on, let me a second. I had another, I'm going to mute my other thing here. 1 second, please.
Sure.
Dallas, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you're talking to us or not.
Nope. I'm going to log out of this. Sorry about that, Regan. I would say that the number one prayer is that we are able to remain focused on the work. We're on the calling. There are so many distractions, both external and internal. You can be distracted by money. You can be distracted by fame. You can be distracted by the fact that the cast is growing and the crew is growing, and you've got competition for airtime. There's just so many things that can happen.
Right.
Just the more you spend time with each other, the more that certain irritations can get inflamed. So that's a constant for the show. But you want to be focused on the art, on the work, and surrendered to the process. That for me, I always ask for prayer for my family. This is extraordinarily challenging project. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of emotional weight, spiritual weight. My wife is a full-time mom and has been a stay-at-home mom for most of our marriage. And now she's also a full-time writer because she's supervising and writing most of our extra written content, our Bible studies, our devotional books, our children's books. All of that it's just very weighty. And so a lot goes into the show, and it's a beautiful privilege. And we don't ask for any sympathy, but when people do pray, we just say, yeah, if you wouldn't mind also asking God to help to lift up our arms a little bit, like they did for Moses. Even though I'm nowhere near Moses, it's certainly helpful to make sure that we're surrendered to God through the whole process.
Absolutely. Well, perfect. You heard it, folks. I want everybody to share this with your family and friends. Grab your tickets because November 18th, you guys come out in theaters.
Yes.
download the Chosen app if you have not already done so. Make sure you're following Dallas and the Chosen on Facebook and Instagram. You guys give such great updates and announcements. But November 18th, that's the day.
And well, it's one of days. I mean, you can get tickets now. Just, you
Right.
just look up your local theater, go to chosentickets.com, but you look for November 18th, but you can also watch it on the 19th or the 20th if you like. But now you should be getting tickets because they are filling up.
Amazing. All right. So let's plan this again for season 4.
Absolutely.
But
Right. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate we saw a comment from Sarah, from Brittany, from Julia. Appreciate all the support. And we will talk again.
All right. Thank you, Dallas. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.